Using a non-offensive image because, again, like, pick a side, YouTube. And honestly, I thought they had something already, We thought they had the YouTube Kids app. Instead of trying to make... the way they're making YouTube family-friendly is by censoring certain words or terms. Pardon me. And that is why. I mean, again, I thought that there was already a separate app that because, I just want to say, I think it's lazy parenting. They just let their kids play around on their phones and they got onto YouTube. Well, now people actually have to put on warnings on videos like that discuss serious topics. And it's frustrating because, not because, oh, well, you're not allowed to say this anymore, so you're butthurt. Like, no. It's frustrating because these are of not being able to use proper terms without actively censoring it. And that is stifling a lot of the YouTube community, especially true crime ones or ones that expose other channels for, if they engage in SA on minors or, exposing predators. And it's like, it makes you miss 2009 because YouTube, you need to take a big step back, a huge step back, and take a look at the damage you are doing. Because, yeah, a lot of things are graphic, but guess what? Reality is not kind. It is not censored. I mean, if you put it on a video, it has to be, but real life isn't. And limiting what people can say or do is definitely something that stifles creativity and expressionism. It's like... it's frustrating because people were so used to being able to actually use the proper terms for things, and apparently they can't now. And that is something that you'd expect in, I think, say, the early 70s or something like that, where cutesy things were done. And hell, I want to bring this up. The one where they used Happy Tree Friends of all things. Because if anyone doesn't know what Happy Tree Friends is, here's your warning. This video, the viewer discretion is mandatory. Because what I'm about to say next is definitely not for little kids. So if your kid happens across this video, do not come and blame us for what your kid hears, because we don't control your kid. We don't physically grab their hand and click on videos like this. That is up to you as a parent to tell them, hey, this is something that adults talk about. You don't have to worry about this. It's like, move along, and most times they just might. Again, but as I was saying about Happy Tree Friends, it's another example of adult animation that looks cartoony, but it's when it first launched, it was way back in the mid 2000s, like 2010s. Back then, people didn't have to be told that that was not for children. Besides, it involves cute animals, but people are forgetting the history of animation and how people look this shit up. This is not, the internet is not just for social media, okay? Look up Ralph Bakshi, okay? That guy tried his best to make adult animation. Not challenging the whole, animation strictly being for kids. No. He was one of the people that decided that he wanted to make animation for adults. And Happy Tree Friends is definitely animation for adults because it involves blood, gore, death, and, egregious bodily harm. And, people, if you're not familiar with it and you come across it, you'd be forgiven for thinking that, at first you see these cutesy animals, but a red flag for it not being for kids should be the fact that there's blood, gore, and, again, egregious bodily harm. So, yeah, just, if no parent out there today, I know common sense is dying, but seriously, folks, come on. If parents of today aren't aware of adult animation and the fact that not everything is for kids, and that there's a separate app called YouTube Kids that you should strictly have your kids on, because welcome to the internet. Welcome to the internet, where there are parodies of children's cartoons that have suggestive content, language, and I mean, come on, how many stories do you have to hear about people who, like the ones about Peppa Pig? How many fucking stories do you have to hear about parodies of Peppa Pig deceiving parents and little kids and them getting pissy? And it's like, welcome to the internet. Because I've been of the belief that, and it wasn't always, YouTube wasn't always trying to market the YouTube towards children. I never believed that YouTube was for kids at all. Because, honestly, I grew up during the 90s, and when the internet was just starting. And there wasn't any social media. That stuff, that the internet definitely had kid-friendly sites, but not all of the internet had child-friendly content, and there were programs for that. But I'm telling you, parents out there right now, that the internet was not made for children at all. It was once quoted as being the super information highway before social media came around, but once social media did come around, the internet began to change. This is a bit of history hour as well. Because, people today, I hate getting political, but, we all know that, conservatives, I mean, I saw a video on TikTok where someone was, like, mocking someone for saying, Velma shouldn't be a lesbian. It's like, So you, a grown-ass adult, is bitching about a fictional character that isn't real and that interacts with other fictional characters, which means that they aren't real either, and you're putting all your energy into that. Pathetic. So, yeah, that basically it's like, pick a side, YouTube. I mean, again, I thought they already had with developing the YouTube Kids app. But I guess not. I mean, it's frustrating because you can't use proper terminology without offending someone. Like, well, here's the reality of it. Those proper terms came about for a reason because they exist. Those types of crimes exist. They are real. I know you want to bury your head in the sand and, basically cover your ears and eyes and pretend like everything is the way you want it to be instead of how reality is. But it's not gonna be like that, and YouTube has never been for children. Yeah, some kids are on it, but there are supposed to be. I mean, they even implemented, the whole checkbox of this video is not for kids, or yeah, this video is made for kids. And they even have the undetermined option. But seriously, that's as far as it should have gone. But now people are having to censor themselves, use short abbreviations of proper terms, and limiting the education and exposing of people that are predators or abusive, and then trash content gets to stay. It's like, fuck you. I don't like this either. It's limiting, and there's been a rapid increase in demonetization, threats of banning people, and it's a mess. If anything, YouTube needs to take this huge step back, see the aftermath of seeing the damage of what they're doing. It's like, you're not helping anything, YouTube. You're making things worse. And a lot of content creators are suffering for it because you want things to be family friendly. No, more like watered down for wimps who don't have a backbone and can't stomach the truth. So the people have to use abbreviations or censor themselves in order to keep money coming. But for us, we don't worry about that because we are not in it to actually get money. If you can't tell by our channel, even we don't notice. Because it's like, we just post content. Meh. That's it. But, other people, it's their livelihood, and of course they're going to be mad. I mean, seriously. If it were you, what would you feel? How would you feel like? Would you feel happy that your content is being censored or demonetized or basically threatened with banning and a lot of your content being taken down? I don't think so. And yet we're okay with telling other people, well, I don't like it, I'm offended by this content. Boo freaking who? Grow a backbone and deal with it. It's called the truth. And using proper terminology should not be punished. Plus, again, I thought they had those checkboxes in, like, uploading settings and shit that say, this is not for kids, or this is for kids, or I'll decide later. And, again, let's bring up the YouTube Kids app. which should be more than enough, and that kids should be strictly put on until they are 16 years old, when they are actually, like, integrated into, well, you know, it's a lot less dumb and impressionable. I mean, yeah, there's teenagers are still stupid, but at least, you know, well, wait, then again, like I said, common sense is dying, so most people don't realize that that a lot of the things you see, again, welcome to the internet, this is your first time here, obviously, that YouTube has never been for kids. And the fact that there was, like, you know, one adpocalypse, massive demonetization, and now they are apparently aggressively threatening banning people, taking down their content, demonetizing their content, and it's like, and forcing them to censor themselves so that they can make YouTube more, again, quote unquote, family friendly, which is a joke to me, because YouTube has never been for children. I mean, if you look back as far as 2009, you'll find out real quick that it's not, that the internet has never I mean, there are specific websites, but YouTube has never been specifically for children. Again, we will inform you of the YouTube Kids app that kids should strictly be on. And if any of your kids are allowed to have profiles on sites, on apps like TikTok or whatever, they need to be run by the parents, not by the child. Because that's what being a responsible parent means. Okay? Instead of placing the blame on someone other than yourself for what your kids discover online, why don't you actually take responsibility as a parent and monitor your kids' use? Because, like I said, until they're 16, they should not be on the actual YouTube app. They have a YouTube Kids app for that. That's our understanding of it, and that's how it should be. People shouldn't have to be afraid of being demonetized or banned or having to censor themselves from using proper terminology and having to abbreviate it. Or censor it altogether when they say it, because you know how that is. It's frustrating and annoying and basically a load of bull. Because it's not the content creator's fault if your kid happens upon their video. Are they physically reaching through the screen and grabbing your kid's hand to click on the video with, forcefully? No. Your kid is doing it on their own, because children are dumb. They're curious. They will click on whatever looks flashy or pretty, and it's what led to the whole Peppa Pig thing, and parents getting pissed off at parodies, because, well, here's the thing, and the other thing with copyright is that most of the content that, like, especially with Peppa Pig, is that they were heavily edited and, not full-on clips. Go to the actual channel for Peppa Pig which has a blue check mark by it. That's the red flag, as if the content has a different username and it doesn't have a blue check mark by it. Don't go clicking on the videos that don't. I can't believe we have to educate to people of today, but here we are. Again, pick a side, YouTube. or more likely, just step back and see the damage you're doing to content creators, and realize that you need to educate people, especially parents of today, on the fact that the internet was not made for children. I mean, sure, there was originally the Super Information Highway where kids could look up things, but these days are different. These days are very different. There's social media, and with that comes a lot of raunchy, inappropriate stuff that you need to monitor your kids' internet usage. This is what's led to the whole demonetization, banning, and censorship, and wanting to make it family friendly, is because parents are not monitoring their children's internet use and what they're doing online. It should not be someone else's fault or problem if your children are clicking on stuff that you yourself would find inappropriate. You are the parent. Monitor your children. It is not supposed to be that difficult. I know it feels like it because you're like, oh my gosh, frustrating, but it's something you have to do in order to save you and everyone else a huge headache and a lot of annoyance and pain. Thank you very much.